What's up, guys? Happy Thursday and welcome back to News for You with me, Tracy. On tonight's agenda, we are getting into Kampala politics. We're also going to be talking about a shift towards justice, the Zimbabwe term extension, as well as when TV icons leave us. All that and so much more coming up tonight. Stay tuned. Even before taking office, the incoming leadership has pushed back against KCCA executive policies, stirring fears in the new Lord Mayor Balimwezo's era when clashes between the political and technical wings repeatedly shook City Hall. Now, city politicians and business leaders warn that renewed power struggles could stall services, disrupt trade, and derail progress in the capital. Now, with Kampala already battling congestion and economic strain, what it needs is cooperation, not confrontation. The question is whether this moment marks a fresh start or history repeating itself. Speaker of Parliament Honorable Anita Among has announced that the government will release individuals detained during the election period who were never charged or found guilty of any offense. The move targets those held without trial, a long-standing concern raised by opposition leaders and rights groups. Coming after sustained pressure over treatment of political detainees, the decision is being framed as a step toward justice and easing political tensions. If followed through, it could mark a significant shift, reaffirming that due process, not politics, must guide the law. So let's hope that they're actually released, that justice is served, as well as questions are answered. Zimbabwe is bracing for a fresh political storm. Cabinet has approved draft changes that could extend President Emerson Mnangagwa's rule to 2030, scrapping the direct presidential elections and stretching terms from 5 to 7 years. Sounds familiar. The 83-year-old leader who came into power after Robert Mugabe's 2017 ousting is officially due to step down in 2028. But critics argue that altering term limits would require a referendum and cannot benefit a sitting president. Supporters call it a path to stability, and opponents see it as a bold attempt to tighten grip on power. A fierce constitutional and political battle now looms. It's just looking like a vicious cycle of corruption, from one corrupt leader to another. But let's see how this turns out. We'll keep you guys posted. Every generation has the TV faces that help them define the coming of age, the characters who feel constant, almost timeless. Dawson's Creek star James Van Der Beek has passed away at the age of 48 after battling bowel cancer, a loss that has deeply shaken fans who grew up watching him as Dawson Leary, one of the defining faces of the late 90s teen television. His passing revives a familiar heartbreak. Many still remember the shock of losing Corey Monteith and Naya Rivera from Glee, the teen drama that dominated the 2010s. The sudden loss of Luke Perry, who bridged generations through Beverly Hills, 90210, then later Riverdale, also hit really hard. Then the passing of Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa from Black Panther, was deeply felt, a cultural moment that reached far beyond one role. And for many viewers, Angus Cloud from Euphoria also became another painful goodbye from a show that defined modern teen storytelling. They weren't just celebrities, they were woven into us growing up. The faces we rushed home to watch, the characters that we quoted at school, the storylines that mirrored our own teenage highs and heartbreaks. When they pass on, it's not just nostalgia that we feel, it's the sudden awareness of time moving on and the sobering reminder that the stars who once felt larger than life were human too. May their souls rest in eternal peace. It's time for the profile, and tonight we have a podcaster, a PR practitioner. Everything comes. We have Hannah Arinaitwe. Take a look. What's up, guys? Welcome to the profile with me, Tracy. Now, joining me today is a very special guest. You may know her, a podcaster, journalist extraordinaire, none other than Miss Hannah Arinaitwe.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me today, Tracy.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
And it's Africa Podcast Week.
Yes.
Tomorrow's Africa Podcast Day.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
So you have a podcast. Talk to me about it. How did you get started? What's the journey like so far?
So I am a trained journalist, and I had always been put in spaces where I had to speak about particular conversations, politics, youth engagement and the likes. But I felt like I needed a space outside work where I can be able to express myself and my experiences with other young people. And I feel like I'm a very lucky young lady because I've been guided, I've been mentored, I've been supported, but not very many young people out there have gotten the same opportunity and privilege like I have.
Right.
So that's how Young and Branded started. We are basically giving a platform for young people to learn how to brand themselves, to position themselves for their careers, to build their purpose and creativity while finding their brand.
Amazing, amazing. And what's the journey like so far?
So far, so good. Of course, it was not easy at the beginning, but like I always say, everybody knows I'm the number one advocate for start with what you have. I remember the first time I did that kind of content, I was using my Infinix Note 7 phone. I had even no mics then. And now to see Young and Branded at that level where we are having crystal clear video and audio. So I think growth comes with time.
Yep.
And with time, you also learn how to sustain a podcast because it's a whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And obviously podcasts have different frequencies. Some people can do it bi-weekly, weekly, but you chose to do it monthly.
Yes.
What led to that decision?
My ideal choice would be able to do a weekly podcast. But I've also learned the importance of gradual growth. I don't want to start with weekly podcasts and then with time you're burnt out. You don't know how to keep up financially as well. So Young and Branded, we launched last year in August. We had a lovely event and we decided to do monthly episodes. So when August of this year comes, we'll be opening season 2 and then we'll now move to 2 episodes per month.
Okay.
So with time, we'll reach that level where we shall have weekly podcasts. But for now, it's monthly.
That's incredible. I love what you said, just start.
Just start.
The situation doesn't need to be perfect.
Yes.
As long as you have the idea and you have the passion, everything else will fall into place.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. So let's talk about, before you started Young and Branded, let's talk about some of the struggles that you had faced, especially when it came to, finding space, finding someone who believed in your vision.
Yeah.
What was that journey like?
In Uganda, the podcasting space hasn't really grown to that level. Not very many people understand what it looks like. Not many people understand how to monetize it. But I think because I've been in spaces with people who've done media, I found it a bit easier to get into podcasting. For example, getting a space, the space I use, first of all, is owned by a creative that understands what it means to be a creative. Building the concept of a podcast, because you're also trying to ask yourself, like, how different am I from every other person that's already in the field, But I did a whole checkout list. Okay, now we are here. Are we done finding a name? Are we done finding a logo? Are we done finding a space? About the money, money comes in gradually as well. Yeah.
Let's talk about that because a lot of people, they have the idea to start a podcast, but sometimes it's just not sustainable. So when it comes to the growth and monetization of a podcast, what's your journey been like?
Sustainability is a very tough one. It's a very tough world in podcasting. But I've found a lot of solace in things like sponsorships. Currently, our podcast is being sponsored by Design Aid.
Wow.
We also do have a new juice brand as well. So the little money that comes in through sponsorships is really helpful. But also having a career on the side that invests in the passion. It's important for you guys to have a career that invests into the passion until the passion grows to a level where it can be sustainable. By the time we hit the number of views and subscribers on YouTube to get monetized, which is actually possible. Many people think it's not possible. I have friends that are doing YouTube and podcasting on Spotify and they're making money out of it.
Wow.
But it takes time. One of the people who I know, it took them 5 years to get to that point. So that means look at it as an investment of your brand, but also of a future money-making project.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, we've seen a lot of people kind of move into this space. If I can use an example of like Candace Owens. She used to work for like traditional media, then she had the falling outs with the Daily Wire, and now she has created her own show. You know, it's kind of showing how people are moving away from the traditional media to be like independents. What do you think of that in Uganda? And let's say if someone like a massive, maybe like an international broadcaster was like, Hannah, we need you.
Okay.
Are you willing to give up Young and Branded to go there?
I mean, if they're offering me $1 million US, yes, no, I'm joking. But Young and Branded is not just young, it's also a piece of me. It's a place where I can share my individuality as an individual. And if a certain international brand or Ugandan brand can't understand the importance of that, then I don't think we can work together. But I think it's possible. I've seen so many people working for companies still able to have their own personal platforms and grow hand in hand. In fact, you can even grow the company with your brand, because the kind of leverage and attention you're getting the other side is now coming to this side. So it's possible. But I think where we're going now, Tracy, everybody's just doing digital media, becoming individual creators, and like that's the new thing.
And you'll find that even when you like find breaking news, it might not necessarily first be those news outlets, but you could go there to verify the story. But most likely you're going to hear it from a TikToker, you know, who's going to tell you the story, and you just go and verify on those actual sites. So you mentioned something about, you know, you need to have a job that will invest in your passion until then your passion is sustaining you enough to not need that job. So I want to ask you, you know, for young people, what if someone is working a job and they might not have the time to get into it? You know, what kind of advice would you give to them?
We've talked about this so much on Young and Branded. Everybody's busy. Trust, everybody's busy, everybody has things to do. But I think understanding the why of why you're starting your podcast will always help you create time to shoot. Like, why do you want this podcast to thrive, right? Personally, I know why. Number one, I want to teach other people how to brand themselves. Number two, I want to build my own personal brand and make money. Now, because I need those three things in my life, I create the time. There are times where we even have to shoot on Sundays. There are times we have to shoot late in the night, early in the morning. But choosing to make it happen, I think that's how you create the time.
So you wouldn't recommend to someone to just, you know, go all in?
Oh, listen,
from the jump.
If you have the means to, trust me, Tracy, if I had the means to, if I was a trust fund baby.
Nepo baby.
I would be doing that. But I think...
But don't you think it also creates some urgency? Like when you're like, okay, I think I may have saved up, maybe not too much money, but just enough to at least sustain me through this first month. And let me just go all in on this project. And that, because that's all you have. You put everything into it. Because let me tell you, when you have the comfort of, I have a salary, you know, I have this cushioning, somehow you won't have that fire under you to actually go out and do the thing. So when you've gone out on a limb,
listen,
it's life or death.
I mean, I admire people who have such levels of belief and hope and passion. And if that's you, please go for it. I think I listened to a podcast, Diary of a CEO, and Stephen Butler was talking about how he left school and kind of like went diverted away from his family to focus on building what he was building, and it worked out for him. So it can work out for you. I mean, choose your path. My path is that, but if you feel like that's how you can motivate yourself, please do so.
Incredible. Oh, Hannah, talking to you has been amazing. I feel like we could go on for hours.
No, we could.
But let's talk about Africa Podcast Day happening this Thursday. So naturally, Creator Connect is on it. So Creator Connect is the community arm of Next Creator. So every month we have creative get-togethers, and this year we have partnered with Agile Media to bring Africa Podcast Day to next creator. So what are you most excited for? I'm hoping firstly that you're going to be here.
Definitely. I'm very excited because finally we are getting a bit of recognition, training, and building of our community. I think the most important thing is the community aspect. Sometimes you can feel like you're alone in this whole podcasting world, but to see other interested individuals come together, to discuss what are your challenges, how you're solving them, I think it just makes the entire day quite lovely. And I can't wait to meet everybody there and to learn something new and to also give some of the information I have in regards to podcasting.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a star-studded lineup. When do you ever get to be in a room with, first of all, Aggie, Patricia Turomwe, Alan Kasuja,
I know,
George the Poet,
excited,
you, Sozi, like. The room is just going to be packed of so much knowledge and invaluable experience. And I personally, I know we have been working behind the scenes to make this happen, but the way I'm like a kid. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
It's going to be incredible.
Thank you so much, though, for creating such platforms. And I'm sure in the next couple of years, we're going to be looking at such days. We're going to be looking at such days as now celebrations of podcasters in the country that are actually now starting to make a business out of it. Yeah, so good.
Great. Thank you so much. It's been amazing. And that's a wrap for tonight, guys. As always, please do leave a like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Bye.